You and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about interstate relations, and the two states over here, one is Andhra Pradesh, the other one is Telangana. And the stimulus for this, the recent meeting between the two chief ministers. Let us start the session with the question, what is the enrichment? As usual, you improve your comprehension skill. Vocabulary. Today we have about 10 important words. Grammar consolidation, effective English, mini mocks. Let us start with editorial vocabulary. The very first word, acrimony, an important word, but you have to know the other form. Acrimonious. Good morning. Acrimony, it is a noun form. Acrimonious, adjective form. What does it mean? Bitterness or ill feeling. Look at the example. The acrimony between the two colleagues made the work environment very uncomfortable. Imagine the work environment if the colleagues don't have a rapport. A rapport means a good understanding. Here the letter T is silent. R is also silent. I have a good rapport with the manager. Means I have a good understanding with the manager, good relationship. Imagine there's no rapport between the colleagues. Obviously, the work atmosphere gets spoiled. And based on that, the acrimony between the two colleagues made the work environment very uncomfortable. We can also say very unpleasant. Bitterness, hostility, rancor. We have got the word hostility many a time. Rancor, you have to remember. Based on the word hostility, I give two words. One, enmity. The other one, antagonistic. What are the two important words based on hostility? One, antagonistic, the other one, enmity. But this word you have to remember. Friendliness, goodwill, harmony. Simple words. Cohesive, an important word, part of speech adjective, characterized by or causing cohesion. A simple word, cohesive means united, unified. Look at the example. The team worked in a cohesive manner to complete the project on time. That means what? They worked together to complete the project on time. There's one important phrase here, on time. What is the difference between in time, on time? Imagine the session is at 9, you join exactly at 9, that means on time. The session is at 9, you join at 8:50, that means in time. In time means before time, on time means exact time. United, unified, integrated. Fragmented, broken into pieces, divided, disjointed, simple words. But here, based on that, there's one important word you have to know. Cohesive, related to that, coherence. Coherence, when I take descriptive English classes, how to write an essay, how to write a letter, I tell students when it comes to writing skill, the most important factor, coherence. Coherence in that context means smooth and logical flow of sentences. When you write an essay, the sentences have to move, flow in a smooth way, in a logical way. Then we say there is coherence in the essay, an important word, and that goes with a writing skill. Good, I appreciate that, Kavya. Coming to submerge, I'm sure you all know this word. Submerge, part of speech verb. Merge means to combine, submerge, to go underwater. To put or go underwater, the submarine can submerge to great depths. That is the objective, that is the purpose. Can go down to great depths. But based on the word depths, I would like to give one important word, abyss. If you go to the Pacific Ocean, We don't know the depth. The deepest point is Mariana Trench. And great depths, we use the word abyss. You don't know the depth, then we have to use the word abyss, an important word. Let us go to the next one. But what are the synonyms here? Immerse, plunge, dip. Plunge has many meanings. Go down. It goes with prices. It goes with confidence. So many combinations can be used. Emerge, surface, rise. Simple words. Intervene. Intervention, noun form. Intervene, a verb. What does it mean? To come between disputing people or groups, to mediate. Imagine two groups are fighting. You enter, you try to find out a solution, or you try to resolve the issue. You are known as a mediator, arbitrator, or we can say you have intervened. Example, the teacher had to intervene to stop the fight. Imagine two students are fighting. The teacher tries to intervene and stop the fight. But there's one important expression here, had to. We have got after a long time, so I would like to spend a few minutes on this. Have to, has to. Past, had to. This is a helping verb. Third person singular, we use has to. Other pronouns, we use have to. I, we, you, they have to. He, she, it has to. And the past had to. What does it mean? An important helping verb. We use this, what is the function? We use it to express an obligation imposed by an external authority or a situation. I have to go to the office by 8:30. Must is different. Must is used to express a personal obligation, but here obligation imposed by an external authority, that means the top management, or a situation. I have to pay the bill today. I have to apply today. That is a situation. I have to report to the general manager. That is a workplace imposed by the external authority. Must goes with personal obligation. I appreciate that. Busy life. Synonyms: mediate, arbitrate, intercede. Important words. Ignore, avoid, neglect. Simple words. Fester, part of speech verb. To become worse or more intense, especially through long term neglect. Imagine something is bad, you neglect that one, then from bad it goes to worse. For that, we also use bad to worse, and based on the situation, we can use adding fuel to the fire and exacerbate, an important word. Look at the example. The wound began to fester because it was not properly cleaned. The wound began to fester because someone must have neglected, and it became from bad to worse. A rankle, an important word you have to remember. Deteriorate, we have got many a time. Worsen, we have got many a time. Heal, improve, ameliorate. You have to remember this one, though we have got many a time. And here there's one particular word you have to recollect based on fester. Another word, pester. Pester means to irritate, to disturb, to annoy. Don't pester me. Pester means disturb or annoy. A related word. Carve out. Carving goes with sculpture. If you take a sculptor, his job is to carve out, takes a stone, carves out, and chisel also you can think of. It also goes with cakes. What does it mean? To create or establish something through hard work. You work very hard and you carve out something. Example, usually it goes with sculptures, but it may go with other contexts. Look at the example, a very good example. She managed to carve out a successful career in the tech industry. Carve out a successful career means to create, develop a successful career through sheer hard work or diligence. Synonyms: establish, create, build. Antonyms are destroy, demolish, ruin. Now, all these words are familiar. We have got so many times. This you have to remember. Legacy. We all know the word legacy, but here what is the word legacy? I have come across for the first time in the Hindu paper. Rarely it is used, part of speech noun. A person who receives a legacy. That legacy could be property, could be name, could be culture, could be tradition, could be anything. Look at the example, you understand. As a sole legatee, he inherited his grandfather's entire estate. He got the entire property. Legatee, word form is important. And what are the synonyms? Beneficiary, it is not heir, H is silent, heir. And it takes the indefinite article an. Inheritor. Predecessor, donor, giver. Not exactly predecessor. You can use these two words. One who gives. Posturing. Posture, that is a different word. Posturing, part of speech noun, a negative connotation. Behavior that is intended to impress or mislead. Example, the politicians are posturing during the debate was seen as insincere, not something sincere. And look at the synonyms: pretending, posing, affectation, not real, trying to mislead or impress, not sincere, sincerity, honesty, and candor. Based on the word candor, you have to recollect candid. Candid means what? Frank. To be candid, usually in this part of the world, we say to be frank. That is British expression. But if you go to the US, they don't say to be frank. For the same thing, they say to be candid. Both mean the same. Remember that word, candor. And here we have one word, pretend. Based on that, I would like to give another word. What is that? Feign. Feign also means a pretend. Feigning, pretending. These are simple words except the last one. Prod. Prod we have got a few times. Part of speech, a verb. What does it mean? To poke or jab, one meaning. You poke someone, you jab someone, that is a prodding. But what is the second meaning that goes with the context, editorial context? To stimulate or persuade someone to do something. The key word here, two words, stimulate or persuade. She had to prod her friend into joining the dance class. Means she had to persuade her friend to join the dance class. Poke, jab, first meaning, stimulate, second meaning. Deter, discourage, dissuade. The word dissuade, given a few times, takes a preposition from. Persuade means convince someone to do something. Dissuade, convince someone not to do something. Quite opposite. Important word. Deterrent, we have got many a time, that prevents something, acts as a hurdle. That's all about editorial vocabulary. Let us go to the editorial and see what is there to learn. What is a stimulus? Recently, a meeting between the two chief ministers of the two states, AP and Telangana, that is a stimulus. Based on that, this has been written. Appreciative, positive note. A renewed hope. Hope, a positive word. A renewed hope means again there's some hope. Regarding what? On the meeting between the chief ministers of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. As I said, the stimulus is a meeting. But what is the main idea? Telangana and Andhra Pradesh chief ministers have made a good start by talking to each other. There are two things, grammar point of view. One, have made a good start, that is in present perfect active voice. And by talking to each other, it is a reciprocal pronoun. When we are talking about two things or two persons, we have to use each other. More than two, we have to use one another. That way it is important. But what is the main idea? As I said, the editorial appreciates the initiative taken by the two chief ministers. So they have made a good start by talking to each other. After a decade of acrimony, means what? Bitterness, The return to cordial relations between the governments and chief ministers of the two Telugu speaking states is welcome. Why do I tell students to read the paper? Why do I do the analysis? In the exam, you come across the same context, same patterns. And a sentence like this, there's every possibility to get in the exam. What is the reason? Here, after a decade of acrimony, this is a phrase. After the phrase, we have the subject, the return. This is a subject. But after that, we have a few phrases to cordial relations between the governments and chief ministers of the two Telugu speaking states. After that, you have the verb. See, where is the subject? Where is the verb? In the exam, under pressure, it is not easy to handle a sentence like this. The return is welcome. Return of what? The hope. That is welcome. Simple idea, but the writer has elaborated that idea by using a few phrases and clauses. Here, phrases. Based on this, at stake are the futures of heavily intertwined and socially cohesive communities of two large economies contributing significantly to India's GDP and employment numbers. A lengthy sentence. Based on the meeting, what is at stake? So, what is there to achieve or what is there to get? At stake are the futures of heavily intertwined and socially cohesive communities. Telugu speaking states, in a way, they are intertwined, means what? Like a network, combined and intricate, you can say, and socially cohesive, united communities of two large economies, especially if you take Hyderabad, huge contribution, contributing significantly to India's GDP and employment numbers. The chief ministers of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and Chandrababu Naidu and A. Revanth Reddy, respectively, not only remained cordial throughout the 2 hour long meeting in Hyderabad last week, but also proposed a well thought out three-tier mechanism to resolve all outstanding issues since the creation of Telangana in 2014. A very lengthy sentence, but easy to understand. In a nutshell, it says they have met to discuss the problems, to resolve the issues, and that's a good thing. The two chief ministers not only remained cordial, whenever you see not only, you should think of but also. They remained cordial, means what? Friendly, throughout the 2 hour long meeting in Hyderabad last week, but also proposed a well thought out, an important phrase you have to remember, well thought out three-tier mechanism to resolve all outstanding issues, pending issues, to find solutions since the creation of the Telangana in 2014. This is a statement about the purpose, the idea behind, and the editorial says they have come up with a well thought out, an important expression, three-tier mechanism. The reader thinks, what is that three-tier mechanism? The answer for that, the remaining sentences, the sentences that follow, the writer tries to elaborate the three-tier mechanism. The first one, the first tier is a committee of top administrative officials, 3 members from each state. But I would like to give one word based on this. One word, one idiom. Administrator, masculine gender. Administratrix, feminine gender. Many students know administrator. He is a good administrator. She, feminine gender, you cannot say she is a good administrator. Though people say that goes with modern English, but exam point of view, when you use a feminine gender, she is a good administratrix. What is the word here? Administrator, administratrix. That is one thing you have to know. And officials, it talks about officials. Obviously, there's one important idiom you have to know. What is it? What is it? A red tape or a red tapeism. A red tape or red tapeism, bureaucratic hurdles. It talks about this is a good initiative, and the first one is what? The first tier is a committee. The moment you see the word committee, you have to think of, good morning, though late. First one, committee, collective noun. You have to recollect two rules. What are the two rules? Committee, a collective noun, usually takes a singular verb, a singular pronoun. But if the sentence denotes division, the same collective noun takes a plural verb, a plural pronoun. And what are the important examples from the exam point of view? Committee, staff, jury, team. These four you have to remember. Also, words like family, group. The first one, the first tier is a committee of top administrative officials, three members from each state. It talks about the three tiers, which would meet at regular intervals and attempt resolutions of as many disputes as possible. Imagine it did not work out at the official level, then the higher level ministers. The second one, but before that, there would be subgroups within this committee to address sectoral issues based on particular sectors, such as water sharing, assets and liabilities distribution, and the return of the five villages in the erstwhile, means former Khammam district, that were merged with Andhra Pradesh as they were expected to be submerged, go underwater, by the Polavaram irrigation project. All these they have to resolve, a list of things to be resolved. The second tier consists of a similar committee of three ministers. First one, administrative officials. Second one, minister level. The second tier consists of a similar committee of three ministers from each state, which would attempt to resolve issues that could not be resolved at the bureaucratic level, means official level. And this also doesn't work. The third one. And finally, the third tier consists of the chief ministers themselves, who would intervene on the most hardened positions. First official level, then minister level, then chief ministers. They try to resolve the issues. And based on hardened positions, I would like to tell, if you take the word hard, it can be an adjective, it can be an adverb. And there's another word, only an adverb. Which one is that? Hardly. It is a hard thing. Here, hard is an adjective. He works hard. Here, it is an adverb. He hardly works. Negative connotation. Only an adverb. You have to recollect, very important from the exam point of view. And finally, the third tier consists of the chief ministers themselves, who would intervene on the most hardened positions. Harden is a verb. In the first 5 years since Telangana, now editor talks about what happened in the past. In the first 5 years since Telangana's formation, these issues have festered to a point of no return. From bad, they have gone to worse, and to the extent of a point of no return. Why? What could be the reason? As much bad blood remained over the carving out of the richest part of the undivided Andhra Pradesh into a new state. The sentence talks about Hyderabad. Hyderabad going to Telangana based on that ill feeling or bad blood. As much bad blood remained over the carving out of the richest part of undivided AP, that is Hyderabad, into a new state. And Hyderabad, because of Telangana, if you take Hyderabad, that is the richest source. And the political futures of the legatee regional parties. K. Chandrasekhar Rao's Telangana Rashtra Samiti / Bharat Rashtra Samiti and Mr. Naidu's Telugu Desam Party depended to a degree on, to some extent on, public posturing, means trying to impress or trying to go with the public mood, posturing, which is showing a stand that is not sincere, much to the detriment. Detrimental means harmful, detriment, dangerous. Detriment of the smooth day to day governance of the two new states. Because of this, the smooth governance between the two states was not established. And one of the reasons, the editorial gives one important reason, the abrupt stoppage. Abrupt means a sudden. The abrupt stoppage of power supply by Andhra Pradesh to Telangana in 2017, leading Telangana to enter into expensive power purchase agreements with other neighboring states, is a case in point, means it's an example. But now, coming to the present, this is what happened in the past, coming to present. But now with Mr. Revanth Reddy, who look up to someone, consider someone a role model, respect a lot, who looks up to Mr. Naidu as a political mentor. On what basis he considers Mr. Naidu a political mentor? He groomed him, means Chandrababu Naidu groomed Mr. Revanth Reddy from his early days as an independent MLC 17 years ago and prodded him, persuaded him to join the TDP. With against this backdrop, there is hope that the two leaders will do what is right by the peoples of their states. There is one important word here, peoples. Sometimes students ask me, sir, can we say peoples? Why not? If you are talking about different states, people of different states, or people of different countries, you can use the word people in the plural form. Nothing wrong with that. It ends on the same thing, hope, renewed hope. Even the last sentence talks about hope. That's all about today's editorial. Let us go to comprehension based questions. Read the first one and try to answer. What mechanism did the chief ministers propose to resolve outstanding issues? A single committee? No. A three-tier mechanism involving administrative officials, tier 1, ministers, tier 2, and the chief ministers, tier 3. A new legislative bill, a regular informal meetings. Answer is B. That's right. What are the components of the first tier of the proposed mechanism? First tier goes with officials. A committee of top administrative officials, 3 members from each state mentioned in the editorial. A committee of local village leaders? No. A joint task force of law enforcement officials? No. A panel of international mediators? Not at all relevant. So what is the answer here? A is the answer. Very good. I appreciate you guys are responding well. Keep it up. Why is there optimism about the current chief ministers working well together? There is some sort of optimism. Why? What is the reason behind? They belong to the same political party? No. Mr. Revanth Reddy looks up to Mr. Naidu as a political mentor. Mentioned clearly. They have signed a formal peace treaty. They have a long history of personal friendship. Answer is again B. Wonderful. I appreciate that. What was one specific issue that strained relations between Telangana and AP in the past? One particular issue strained the relation between AP and Telangana. Which one? Border disputes? No. Water sharing? No. Abrupt stoppage of power supply by Andhra Pradesh to Telangana in 2017, clearly mentioned. Based on that, C. Disputes over cultural heritage, not relevant. Only 4 questions based on the editorial. Now let us go to error location. Try to get the first one. For many in India, the defeat of Mr. Sunak will feel somewhat personal, given their pride in he being the first British Prime Minister of Asian origin with Indian ancestry, a bond he affirmed as well. This is an important question. It goes with common errors. Tell me, where is the error? For many in India, this is a phrase, nothing wrong with that. The defeat of Mr. Sunak will feel somewhat personal. Nothing wrong with that also. Given their pride in he being the first British Prime Minister, we have an error here. What is wrong? Here we cannot use a pronoun in the subject form. It should be in the possessive form. Based on that, he being is not correct. It has to be his being. There is an error in the third part. He being the first prime minister, wrong. His being the first prime minister. You may ask, sir, why? The word being, imagine there is a gerund. What is a gerund? Verb ing form used as a noun. If you have to use a pronoun before that, it has to be in the possessive form. I'll give an interesting example. A lot of people say in conversational English, please excuse me coming late. Excuse me coming late. This is wrong. Here we have the gerund. Based on that, here we cannot say me, we have to say my. But a lot of people, those are good at English also, otherwise, they say, please excuse me coming late. Imagine you say, please excuse my coming late. People may not accept outside. But this is what you have to remember from the exam point of view. An important one. Let us go to the next one. See if you can answer. Both sides categorically declared fealty to the Constitution of India while accusing one another of trying to undermine it, while trying to weaken it. An easy one. Here we are talking about both sides means what? Two parties. Then we cannot use a reciprocal pronoun one another. We have to use what? We have to use each other. If you wonder what is the very good, busy life, Mahesh. What is the difference between the two? There are two pronouns. They come under reciprocal pronouns. What are those two pronouns? One each other, the other one another. What is the difference? When we talk about two persons or two things, we have to use each other. More than two, one another. Both means a two. Then we cannot use one another. We have to use each other. And do remember it is a reciprocal pronoun. The 37-year-old in Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray are closer to the end of their careers and have arrived in London with broken bodies. Where is the error? The very first part. The 37-year-old Novak Djokovic would have been correct. But the sentence talks about two persons. One is Djokovic, the other one Andy Murray. So here it has been used as a noun. Based on that, the 37-year-olds, we have to use S after old. The 37-year-olds in Djokovic and Andy Murray. No, 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 nothing wrong with this. It is not because we are not talking about one person, we are talking about two persons. And here 37-year-olds, like oldies, you can say the noun, it's a noun form. You have to use in the plural form because we are talking about two persons, not one person. Today I have brought para jumble. I hope you can make out. See if you can get the correct order. Usually I tell students when you want to work on a para jumble, go through all the parts, take elimination approach, and ask the question, what is this about? Then you will be able to place everything. Earlier, the government, perhaps you can consider, and there's no subject, no. In the middle of no subject, no. Hold this one. Barring reports, again, you cannot consider the exact level, there's no subject as such. So, what is the first one? When you ask the question, what is this about? The answer, it is about the three laws. Based on that, the three new criminal laws have come into force in the country. What is the second one? They have come into force in the country amidst, in the middle of Widespread fears that the policing and judicial systems are not yet ready for their introduction. That means DC one pair. After that, what? Barring reports of some rudimentary training to station house police personnel, some workshops here and there, and an upgrade to additional information based on this, and an upgrade to the crime and criminal tracking network and systems, which will help ease the filing of complaints in electronic form. Barring these, the exact level of preparedness among the upper and lower echelons of the police is unknown. That means EB one pair and continuity of thought, because there is a punctuation also. Try to simplify. Barring reports of some training here and there, the exact level of preparedness among the upper and lower echelons of the police is unknown. Based on that, F. DC, EBF, and what are you left with? Earlier, the government had appointed July 1st as the day on which the three laws will come into force. DC, EBFA. Wonderful. I appreciate busy life, Kavya. You guys have got it right. That's really good. I haven't given enough time. Still, you could get the correct order. Highly appreciable. That's all for today. Have a nice day. And do remember, after the session, we provide the PDF. Join the Telegram group to access the PDF. Thank you very much.